Hello, everybody. This is Ben Styles bringing you round three of the Southeastern Amateur Championships presented by the Orlando Disc Golf Club. Today, we're going to be playing the Gordon Barnett Park Parkside Course. We've got it starting off on hole one. Hole one is a 348-foot dead straight shot over water for the last 150, 200 feet of the shot. So, if you want to play the aggressive shot like he's doing here, you're basically going to try to play something straight. You can see James just didn't quite make it over there. He hit the water, skipped, and hit that box and stayed OB. Craig trying to play that safe shot, turned it over a little too much and actually caught a roll down into the water. And then Chase going at it long, just left it a little too high, too much hyzer, and just kind of dumped in the water there. So I'm actually trying the safe approach after watching all of them to take their drives OB and just playing a hyzer out over the water, back in bounds over there somewhere. The danger on this one, if you're trying to run it and be too aggressive, is leaving it short or leaving it too long. There's actually OB long of the basket too. So these guys are just taking their approach shots. My hyzer actually put me in a position where I had a decent look at the basket, but getting too aggressive here with that pond being so close and that downhill slope was scary. So I just put it up there underneath the basket. And then you got James just cleaning up his bogey, and the rest of us cleaning up our bogeys and pars. Moving on to hole two. Hole two is 365 feet. Plays pretty much dead straight. You kind of want to get it underneath this tree that's leaning over here. Played a little bit of a flex, so it'll come back just a touch towards the basket, but that tree there is kind of in line with where the basket is straight away. So you just want to throw something pretty straight. You don't want it to hyzer too much because you don't want to bring that ditch OB into play any more than you have to. And anything up there is going to give you a good look at the basket, but it is a pretty good little rip on probably a fairway driver from there. So that's a solid shot from Chase there. Craig's taking the forehand, as he's a predominantly forehand player. He's trying to get something that just stays turned over and gets him down towards the basket. Turned over a little sooner than he wanted. It looks like I missed the rest of that hole because we actually had to go grab the umbrellas. And I think we all took our pars on that hole despite our great drives. Moving on to hole three, it's a big hyzer flex as you see Adam throwing that here. So he's thrown an absolutely crush shot down there. This is a 504-foot hole. Most people are going to be playing just a safe shot up either where Craig is to try to get that opening over there, or something here like Chase is about to do, just throwing something down the middle over there where you can try to attack the basket. But Chase actually left it a little bit too high, and he has it out on that left side where it gets a little rough. And I'm trying to just play the hyzer and get back in the middle of the fairway over there, but I left it a little too straight and a little too right. I ended up right in those bushes, right where I didn't want to be. And Craig's just trying to take it from where his drive is across the ditch and just trying to put it up there where you can get a look. And you can see how deep my drive ended up buried in these bushes there. It took me a little bit to get situated. And actually, right while this is going on, while I'm trying to get situated and get my shot, Kelley didn't realize it while she's filming, but she's actually standing in a fire ant hill, and until she moved, she didn't realize that she got absolutely eaten up there. I was trying to take my approach shot, put it underneath that to that low ceiling, and that's where Adam's drive actually ended up. So on a 504-foot hole, he's got a jump putt approach to the basket. He was trying to give it a bid, but that low ceiling just kind of got in his way a little bit. But I think he's the only one that's got to look at a birdie. That was for me for my par save from my terrible drive. So I ended up taking a bogey there. And I believe Chase, I don't remember if Chase has got a par or a bogey on this hole, but Craig cleaned up his bogey. So moving on to hole four, it's a little hyzer, slightly uphill, low ceiling. It's not a really far hole. It's only coming in at 375, but trying to get a hyzer as high as you can, flirt with those trees because of that low ceiling, and still not bring it as early as I did there into those trees on the left-hand side can be difficult, and I had trouble with it. And Craig's actually trying to take the forehand turnover line over top of the trees to the left, which is a solid line that I didn't see until after he threw it. But he didn't quite get to the basket, but he got to the opening out there where he can have a good look at it. And then James is going back with that nice little hyzer, just trying to put himself around the corner. He's actually put himself a little deep. I'm going forehand turnover here, trying to give myself a look at the basket. Got a little too turned over. So from where Craig's drive landed, he actually has a pretty good open look to just caught those trees. And Chase is kind of in the same position. Just he's giving that a half go, giving that where he can make easy work of that. Good run from James. Just wasn't quite able to connect on that one. So I'm outside the circle again and just leaving him low. Craig was able to clean that one up for a nice little 3. Adam cleaning up his bogey, and then I'll be cleaning up my bogey on this hole as well, and then Chase should be cleaning up his par. So moving on to hole 6. Moving on to hole 5. So this was pretty much straight downhill, 407 feet. There's this tree right there on the right that you've got to contend with right off the tee pad. And then this clump of trees over to the left, which is actually saving Chase here because he was about to hyzer OB, but he got caught in those trees and stayed in bounds. The sidewalk is not playing OB this year as it has in past years. Right there where Chase goes in there, where Craig goes in there, there's a lot of swamp in there. They had a unique rule for this tournament where anytime on this course where you ended up in the water, because there was so much standing water on this course, anywhere that was in water, you got unlimited relief. So typically you have, I don't remember if it's 3 or 5 meters of relief from any water hazard, but in casual water. But there you can see where James actually threw it in the water, but since he had unlimited relief away, he was able to take a nice long stance on there and actually throw a hyzer up over top of those trees. So my relief brought me back here to the edge of the water, and I had a nice little forehand approach up to the basket. And then Chase has left himself tight in those trees over there. He's playing the anhyzer, and he actually put it right on that sidewalk there, so he'd have some nice clear footing. Craig's on the edge, going to give this a run. Good bid, but not quite able to convert. And that's where James's lie ended up from his hyzer over the top, so he wasn't able to get a clear line at it, but easy bogey save from there. I had great putt from Chase to clean that up. I was able to save my par there, and then Craig taking his par as well. So now we're moving on to hole 6. Hole 6 is a 340 foot. It either plays as a big hyzer forehand or a big backhand turnover. I didn't like the forehand hyzer line because it brings some of these shorter trees in to play, like Chase just hit there. So I really think the backhand hyzer is the better way to approach this to have a good putt at the basket. But you can see Craig threw that forehand high line pretty high, so he got clear of most of those trees. So he should have a good look at there. I'm taking the backhand line here, and I really like this one out of my hand. I thought I'd thrown the shot. It's up there towards the basket, but I just got caught a little short. I should have pushed it a little bit deeper. And then James is showing us how to throw that forehand line high and long instead of actually crash back in towards the basket. So Chase is just throwing a nice little simple approach shot from there. Craig's doing the same thing, weaving through those trees. I do want to say, though, this hole is a marsh. So it looks like there's nice, lush green grass, but the grass here is in about 3 inches of mud everywhere on this entire course. So footing is difficult no matter where you are here. So James is able to capitalize on that birdie, and I think everybody else is just cleaning up their pars here. So moving on to hole 7. Hole 7 is a big backhand hyzer for 90% of players. So the tree that you see up there is actually on the far side of a ditch, and James actually threw that drive into the ditch and then skipped back up the hill to put it inside 10 feet on the circle. So Chase left that a little bit long. He's actually going to be on the edge of the water there, but did manage to stay in bounds. Craig's throwing that big forehand turnover like he does. Almost caught the roll, but he did manage to get it back flat, so he's stuck. And then I'm taking the backhand hyzer here with a Thunderbird, trying to get a little forward skip there, but with the grass being as deep and as soft as it is, it just kind of Velcroed, and you can see where I stuck there. Craig gave that a little bit of a chance, and we actually got a little cameo here from Yulia Pastavinska, the winner of the Advanced Women's Division, throwing her drive on hole 4. Back to us. Chase, after nearly being OB, almost made good on that long birdie putt. This is my probably 35, 40 foot attempt for a birdie. Just leave it a little high and left. And James cleaning up his birdie. Man, that's a great birdie. The rest of us are just going to be cleaning up our pars and moving on to hole 8. So hole 8's not a particularly difficult hole. It's fairly open. There's a couple different ways to approach it. Primarily, it's either going to be a forehand hyzer or a backhand hyzer like James is taking here. I like the forehand hyzer because it's more open. That backhand hyzer, man, that looked really good. He almost made that one in there. But that backhand hyzer down the right-hand side brings that tree down there just short of the basket a little more into play. But out to the right side, the only thing that you have to avoid is that little cluster of trees and that one single tree out there to the left-hand side. Aside from that, it's just wide open. So I'm taking an overstable mid-range here and just putting it out on a hyzer and trusting it to come back towards the basket. And I left it a little farther right than I had wanted. Chase putting a good little bit on that, and James from just short of OB. So the sidewalk is inbounds there. It's just the pavement that played OB there. And I just wasn't able to convert on my should be simple routine birdie putt. Craig cleaned up his birdie, and then the rest of us are just cleaning up our pars there. So then we're moving on to hole 9. This is another forehand hyzer hole. That's pretty much the only way I saw to attack this one and get the distance you need, because it is 392 feet, pretty straight, low ceiling back in there towards the basket. So you can see we're all just throwing the forehand line here, trying to get down there and get through those trees towards the basket. So if you go long enough, there's actually no trees past where the basket is, but anything short of there is just trees, trees, trees. So I'm playing a little hyzer flip. I pushed it really far left, a little more than I intended to, but I got a good flight out of it, and I'm crashing back there towards the basket. That should put me inside the circle. So Chase's shot left him a little short in those trees, but he had a great approach to that basket. And then James has got an obstructed look at it, but he's just going to lay this one up. He's not really giving that one a chance. Didn't have a clean line from there. Craig's 40 feet, giving it a chance. Just doesn't quite get it. Good run, though. And then I'm 20 feet out and can't convert on that straddle putt there. That one really frustrated me. So hole 10 is pretty much another just dead straight shot. Maybe you can either go straight at it, you can throw the forehand hyzer like Craig's doing here, or you can throw the backhand hyzer. It's open for the first 75% of the hole, but then once you actually get down to the green, there gets to be a lot of trees, and I couldn't find a good big gap here, so pretty much I was trying to throw something that got down there and then hope you get a good skip or just kind of finagle your way through the trees to where you can get a good putt. Anything that gets down there far enough, though, you're going to be on the green where you can take a putt. So I hit my gap. I was trying to miss that one tree to left or right and just managed to hit it straight on, which is not what I wanted to do. So just a little forehand half bit at it. James cashes in on that birdie, and then Chase for his birdie as well, and then Craig to clean it out just leaves it short for his birdie attempt. So just cleaning up my par here, and then moving on to hole 11. Hole 11 is either a hyzer like James is throwing here. You just gotta miss that evergreen over on the right hand side, and there's some palmetto trees or palm trees they planted down there. So the basket's pretty much straight, but there's a few well-placed trees in the way. You can just see the basket on the left-hand side of the screen there. So either the backhand hyzer missing that tree or the forehand hyzer as Craig going with here and getting around to the opening side over there. So that left side over there is pretty open, so you get almost all the way down to the basket. And I'm actually going to take a backhand turnover and just kind of flex it in around that one big tree down there and kind of hyzers out and stalls out nice. So that should put me inside 10 feet. James was giving that one a go from outside 50. Chase from about 45. And James's run hit that tree and left him pretty short and just missed that one for his par save. And then this is where Craig's drive ended up. So a pretty good drive, just wasn't able to convert on that putt. And I'll be able to clean up that birdie from over there on the left-hand side. So we should be moving on to hole 12. Hole 12 is very similar to the line that I played on hole 11. except for with a little more low ceiling. So the ceiling kind of comes into play a little more, and there's some bushes. So those bushes are straight away. Pretty much the shot that I had envisioned was to play an anhyzer directly over top of those bushes straight, and I put it way too far right. Not at all the line I was intending to hit. But Chase, seeing what I did, the mistake I made, and he followed up and did the exact same thing. And then Craig's going to throw the forehand flex. I think he was trying to keep that a little lower and turn it over a little bit more, because the basket really is just dead straight. And then James following us all up and pushing it down that right-hand side. Not where you want to be, but we should be able to get up and down from there. And you can see Craig is just absolutely buried in that first set of bushes that's there. But he throws a pretty decent approach shot. He should be looking at the basket from there. I believe this is where Chase ended up, and he throws a tomahawk that lands on its dome and absolutely just put it underneath the basket. Missed mine and James's approach shots from the right-hand side, but they were just basically little jump putt approaches, nothing too exciting to miss there. And then we're all just cleaning up our pars. So hole 13 is one of the longest holes in the course, 666 feet. There is a wall of trees short of the green on here. So I'm just trying to take something and just throw it out there, throw it far, but I left it a lot shorter than I wanted to. I just turned it over a little bit too much, and this grass gets no movement out here. So James is absolutely just mashing this one down there. He's playing it, flexing out, and does just stay in bounds. So the sidewalk doesn't play OB here. It's the road that's OB, so he's well safe on that. Chase doing the same thing, playing a little bit lower line, trying to push that left-hand side. The left-hand side does give you a better access to the green. You can actually play a forehand around the wall of trees over the road OB to get you a nice clean look at the basket. I left myself way far right, and that wall of trees is definitely in play. So I'm trying to go just a big flex shot over the top with a driver, just kind of stall out there, just to give me a clean, unobstructed look at the basket and try to save my par from there. So Greg actually had a good little line. He put it up there, just left it a little low and left, and caught that berm that's underneath that tree wall. And then Chase little stutter step there, and he did the same thing. Just left it low, didn't quite give it enough to get it up over that hill. James, for his up and down, trying to save his birdie, and just absolutely throws a perfect shot. Puts it up there, right up by the basket. Absolutely great shot. Chase, little putter approach, just sailed on him a little bit. That put him probably 40 long. Not an ideal approach shot, but he should have a putt. Craig giving this one a long go from probably about 60. And here I am. I'm probably about 60, 65 as well. The open look I was wanting to get, because I knew that trying to save my birdie from where my drive ended up was not really a possibility. So I'm just trying to get something up there, maybe give it a little run, and put it close. So I'll be happy with that from where my drive ended up. Chase coming back, makes good on that long birdie putt. And then I'm just going to clean up my par here, which I'm very happy with how my drive started out on the hole. And then just cleaning out par from Craig. And actually, here's James's birdie putt. So nice little tap in for him. Moving on to hole 14. For me, this was another hole that played as a big forehand hyzer. The line shows you going down the right-hand side, but really the left-hand side, like James is taking here, is really the ideal shot. There's nothing in the way over there. You kind of got to push those power lines a little bit, but they really don't come into play unless you throw it too long. And he absolutely threw a perfect shot. So I'm trying to follow him up and throw pretty much the same shot. I threw just a little bit too overstable, and it just has it in a little bit short, but it puts me in range where I should be able to get up and down. And Chase is actually throwing the backhand turnover line, and he puts it a little lower than he wanted. There's a clump of bushes just short of the green, and he actually ended up dead centered in there. Craig's going with that forehand around the outside, and he's just left that a little bit short. He's going to be right in there with Chase. You can see that wall of bushes that's there that can be absolutely just tough to get anything out. Chase throws a great little tomahawk over top again and just kind of domes it out right up next to the basket. Craig was left with a little awkward forehand turnover shot. Then I'm on the edge, trying to fight that low ceiling straddle out around that. Then Craig for his par just left it a little too high. And that was Craig cleaning up his par. This is my par save coming back. This is Chase for his par, and I guess we missed Adam's putt, but he put it 10-15 feet out for his birdie. So hole 15 pretty much plays as a straight shot. There's a couple poles down there. That pole you see straight in front of the basket, you just need to turn a little right of that and then finish left. You can see the basket down there straight away. It is 332 feet, so it's not a really big throw, but it is a pretty good rip on a fairway driver for me. And I turned that one over a little more than I wanted it to. I wanted it to turn, but I wanted it to also fade back a little bit too, and I just didn't quite get that fade I needed. So Chase doing pretty much the same thing I did, just turn it over a little bit too much and putting it in that right-hand side, which isn't OB, but in Florida the rough is rough, and it plays as a natural OB. Craig got himself in a world of hurt there, hitting that early pole, pushed him into that deep rough over there, but he was able to get that back out to the middle of the fairway, and he should be able to, he pushed it to the left-hand side, which this ditch isn't OB until you get all the way up there to that bridge. So where he is actually inbounds. So he's put himself on the green from there, so he should have a putt. Chase ended up deep in those bushes. He's just on the edge, and so he has a nice little putter turnover and absolutely throws a great shot. So I'm a little deeper in the bushes. The only thing I really got is this little forehand putter. I'm just trying to play it just out around the corner, and it just keeps rolling. You can see it just barely trickles OB. So I needed a little more turn for that to stay in, and just managed to find out a little bit of OB out there. So trying to save my my bogey from there, but wasn't able to get a good bid on it. James actually went OB off of his drive because he did push his drive past that bridge and OB. So that was for his par save. That was Chase for his par, and this is where Craig's approach shot went to. It slid down that hill and right into that culvert, and man, he makes good on that long putt from downhill. That was an absolutely perfect putt. Well done. So tapping out those pars and bogeys. Moving on to hole 16. Hole 16 is dead straight. The only OB on this hole is that canal that's directly in front of the tee pad, which would be an absolutely terrible shot if you ended up in there. But the sidewalk does not play on OB on hole 16 as it does on the hole previous and after. So ideally you just want to throw something straight down there. Both of them actually turned that over a little bit too much. Craig's trying to take something fairly straight to a little overstable and play a skip shot. He turned it over a little more than he wanted to and got into those trees on the left-hand side. I'm going with a buzz here that I know I can just throw hard and it's going to stay straight, and it just does what buzzes do and just went straight. And that puts me inside 10 feet. And that's where I need to be with how I'm putting this round, is inside 10 feet so I can try to make a putt. Chase throws a nice approach shot. He left himself a little short. This is Craig from the bushes. Flexing. That should put him inside a circle. Nice approach. And this is James just putting himself up there where he can get an easy putt. He wanted to throw something a little more stable because he was thinking when he teed off that the road was OB, and didn't realize that the road was just a road and not an OB hazard. Craig missing that putt, and James just cleaning up his par from there. This is me for my birdie putt, and moving on to hole 17. So there was no tee sign on this hole. So hole 17 is 300 feet. The whole right side of this ditch over here and that road to the left plays as OB. So I'm trying to play the hyzer, and I just straightened that one out way too much and threw it almost directly OB. So James is throwing the line more like what I was trying to do, just throwing that big high hyzer over top of those trees to the right and just crashing back towards the basket. And he's actually put himself into the edge of the woods there, but he should be pretty close. And then Chase throwing the more direct route, just barely gets it to stand up enough to get off of those poles and crash in towards there. That's a really great drive. And Craig's taking a forehand turnover shot, just trying to keep it turned over, keep crashing towards the basket. It leaks a little high, but he's going to be back on the left-hand side. And this is my re-tee because my OB shot went almost directly OB. So I took it from the tee again rather than playing from an awkward footing and still having to throw the same hyzer shot. This is more of the shot I was trying to throw the first time. It puts me just to the left of that row of power lines where I've got a putt at the basket. That was Craig for his out shot. This is where my re-tee ended up, just leaving that putt short. Then this is, I believe, James out of the woods. Yeah, James out of the woods, for that would have been for his birdie. This is Chase for his birdie putt. Able to connect on that one. Good birdie. So then James and Craig cleaning up their pars, and then I'm coming to clean up my double bogey on that hole. Moving on to hole 18. This is a tricky little pin placement and a tricky drive from the long pin. You've got OB pond left, pretty much right where your ideal landing zone would be, and then OB parking lot right. So if you're trying to throw the hyzer like Chase is throwing here, and you catch one of those trees like he does, as it's coming back inbounds, and the sidewalk plays the OB here, not the parking lot. So his drive went OB, and then James is actually going really aggressive on this one, taking a big turnover out over the pond. We weren't sure. He stalls a little bit, but he had the distance to clear the pond easily. Craig taking a nice safe forehand hyzer shot back to the fairway. Absolutely put it in a great spot, except for he's right up against that tree, which is going to make that shot tough. I'm trying to do the same kind of thing that James did, except for treat it a little more right, and I turned that over again, just bring it too far right and put myself OB. Chase was kind of stuck between that tree and that signpost there, so he's just having to play a hyzer and just skips off that sidewalk back in bounds. So for my OB shot, I'm taking a forehand, pushing it down that right-hand side, trying to get a little skip underneath this to the low ceiling back to the green, but it just absolutely tombstones in there short of that tree. So Chase is going with that little turnover rock shot and absolutely laces that right underneath that low ceiling, gets him right up on the green. That's a great shot. You see here where his drive ended up pinching him right up against that stuff, so he had an obstructed, tough little stance to get there. James' shot, absolutely clean look. He should be able to just put a little putter up around the corner and get his up and down for his birdie. I'm sorry, for his par. So this, even though it's 563 feet, it's listed as only a par 3, so it has some. This is a tough par for an amateur event for sure. So Chase cleaning up his, I believe it's a double bogey. James cleaning up his par. Craig cleaning up his bogey, and me cleaning up my double bogey. So that brings us to the end of the round, everybody. This is where everybody finished. So thank you all for watching. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. See y'all next time.